Hello and welcome to the third part of my personal challenge. In this episode I will create leaves using the particle system and I will also apply textures to the tree. So, creating 3D plants for games is quite tricky. We need to achieve maximum quality in visuals while having minimum amount of polygons as possible. For this, we will heavily rely on textures. First, let's find a nice branch image with transparency. And an alpha map would be fine as well. Then, we will create a blank canvas on Photoshop, import the image and prepare a nice even square texture to apply on 3D objects. I chose quite a big size to preserve details on leaves. It's a bit overkill, but we can always downscale whenever necessary. But the image itself isn't enough. We also need an illusion of depth without actually using 3D objects. I'll use a software called Materialize to create a normal map from the image. This normal map will mimic the 3D effect on whatever it's applied to. So, textures for leaves are ready. Let's combine them in Blender. As you can see, even though we have a transparent texture, the original image seems to have some artifacts. Luckily, we have this alpha map that came with the image. Alpha maps set the opacity of the texture using black and white values. White is fully visible, black is fully transparent, and gray is somewhere in between, depending on the tone. Our alpha map will get rid of anything on black area and will give us a nice clean texture. Now we need to tell the particle system where to populate this plane. I will select everything on upper body and some little branches on both arms as well. When I assign this group, particles will only appear from these vertices. I will also set the scale to 1, so it's equal to our plane. One last thing, I want the number of these particles match the vertex count of our group. This way, I know that only one plane is generated from each vertex position. As I've stated before, we don't want any unnecessary polygons. And we have pretty good looking leaves. And we use non-destructive methods, so simply changing few values will result in a different looking tree. Now this level of detail is quite enough already. But if we ever need additional details, we can come back and modify this single plane object, and particles will update in real time. We can even add modifiers such as simple deform, and our tree will adapt accordingly. Now that we're done with upper branches, let's hide them and begin UV mapping the body. All we have to do is select few edges and mark them as seams, then repeat this process on every other branch. And once the UV map is ready, let's use a different method to find textures for the body. We can always search on Google to find a suitable image. Just make sure that it's not copyrighted. Now this image has quite a big size. We can't use this as it is. However, we can apply the cheapest trick ever to create seamless textures out of it. Just copy the image and flip on horizontal axis to match both edges, and flip vertical to expand the space down below. As long as our UV textures are vertical, this texture will do just fine. Once again, we need the power of Materialize to create additional textures from a single image without any effort. Time to go back to Blender and combine everything. Some parts of the tree needs fixing, so let's change seams on the body to create a better looking UV map. And the tree is finally complete. On the next episode we will add bones and prepare a couple animations for the game prototype. Thank you for watching.